So let's discuss the upcoming iPhone 13 Pro and Pro Max by Apple. And I'll try and make this short and sweet because why drag this video out to be 20 minutes long when not much has really changed. But read the headline, more pro than ever before, which technically is a true statement. So we have one new color, as you can see here. Instead of Pacific blue, we have Sierra blue. Sort of like the color of my shirt. So I'm not really a fan of this color, but things look different in person, and I have a feeling it'll look much better when I see it at the Apple Store or Best Buy or what have you. Because when things are rendered behind a white screen, it just kind of loses that natural human connection. And I really have no idea what I'm saying at this point, but all four colors look amazing. This one is debatable though. So let's continue down here and talk a little bit more about these new cameras. My goodness. So this is one of the biggest changes that we have in the iPhone 13 Pro models, and we have new cameras. Not one, not two, but three new cameras. Oh, I almost said not three, but we have three new cameras. So there's a new wide angle lens, a new ultra wide lens, as well as a new telephoto lens. And as you can see here, they're pretty prominent on the back of the phone. So the new wide lens will be able to perform better at night. So if you're out with your friends and want to have better pictures after everybody is drunk, passed out on the street, then get the iPhone 13 Pro. Seems like a solid choice. So the new telephoto lens adds the ability for macro shots, something that has been missing in the iPhone for years now. So from the pictures that Apple has provided, macro looks pretty amazing so far. So it'd be nice to see how that is in person, because as curious as I am, I feel like I'm going to be taking random shots of macro. That came out wrong. I'm going to be taking random macro shots of things just because I'm a curious person. So photographic styles is something that I mentioned previously in my iPhone 13 video, because this is not just exclusive to the iPhone 13 Pro. I initially thought it was just a filter before you take a photo, but it's a little bit more than that. So it's more of keeping the subject, which in this example is the woman, in her skin tone while dynamically changing the background. So whether you want it to be cooler, warmer, more vibrant, more contrast, but in essence, it'll make the subject pop more compared to her background. So that's nice that we're able to use this technology with the A15 processor, but I'm more curious how this is going to work for darker folks like myself. But hopefully AI can do a good job. So like I said before, I'll probably see a ton of this being used on Instagram because let's be honest here, who is really going to be using photographic styles in their regular photos that they take? Now let's talk about how these cameras perform in video. So I can't really speak on the whole ProRes topic, but you can record ProRes on the Pro models. The nice thing is that they still record in HDR and Dolby Vision, so your videos are still going to look great when viewing them back on your device or a pairing Apple TV that just released, Apple TV 4K to be specific. But Apple is really trying to make it seem like the 13 Pro can record movie-like quality. So cinematic mode is something that smartphone cameras have struggled with in terms of depth of field when recording a video. So when you look at a person or an object, not everything is always in focus because your brain just can't process all that information. And that's what we have here, or that's what movies try to simulate. You're focusing on what is important, and then when you hear something else in the far background, your brain will then, or your eyes and brain will focus to that as well. I'm not a cinematography, I really have no idea what I'm talking about, but in essence, it'll blur a subject and then focus on another one and then do the inverse. That's essentially cinematic mode. So through some software, Apple can now do all that through its Bionic chip, so it's great. But do keep in mind, like I said before, this is also on the iPhone 13. This is not restricted to the 13 Pro. So moving forward, I don't want to confuse you guys here, but now we have two A15 processors, and this is the A15 is basically what powers the iPhone. So the regular 13 has 4 GPU cores and the 13 Pro has 5 GPU cores, Will that make a huge difference? I'm gonna come out and say for the average person, not really. So once again, don't feel inclined to spend more money on something you don't really need. But if you want the best of what Apple has to offer, get the 13 Pro. So moving on, this is probably one of the best features that Apple announced so far, and it's ProMotion. Now, this is a feature that Apple actually introduced back in 2017 on the iPad Pros. 2017, and we're still using Lightning on the iPhone. Why? If you've ever used an iPad Pro to experience ProMotion, you know how fluid everything is. It's finally coming to the iPhone 13 Pro, whatever. At least we have it on the iPhone now. Usually I'd be super excited about this, but it feels like Apple is really late to the party here. And you know, usually Apple is late to things, but not only are they extremely late, they had this technology on their existing products for 4 years now. So it almost feels kind of bittersweet, but I'm done being sad about this because it's nice nonetheless that we finally have ProMotion. And the thing that I'm looking forward to the most is not how fluid everything is, because I'm sure it's going to be amazing, but I'm more interested on how Apple will transition your screen from being slow to very fast, because some Android devices struggle and hitch occasionally, which can be a bit jarring and kind of ruin the user experience. But with Apple being huge on animations and fluidity, I don't think this is going to be an issue for them. And like I said, they've been using this technology for 4 years already on their iPads and their Apple Watch. So another change that many people might not notice, and it's because it's not an exterior change, but it's more of an interior change. They're just showcasing ceramic shield. That's something that's been existing on the iPhone 12, but we still have it here. So in terms of the internal changes that they did, I can't speak on the many reasons of why they did, but the big takeaway that you should get is that you have better battery life, apparently. So compared to the 12 series, the 13 will boast 1.5 more hours, and then the 13 Pro Max will boast 2.5 more hours with everything turned on. So if these claims are true, I'm about to fall over. If these claims are true, this will really make the iPhone like a true all-day phone with everything turned on, a no compromise iPhone. I think that's pretty great. So as you can see here, 5G is still here. My advice, you guys already know it. Turn it off unless you absolutely need it, because you're just burning battery at that point, because LTE is still pretty good. So that pretty much sums up the iPhone 13 Pro. You guys can tell me what you guys think, but I'll have a follow-up video on this, because although many people seem to be underwhelmed about the new 13 in general, after relaxing and taking some time to think, I think this is a pretty solid phone. In terms of an S cycle, they pretty much nailed it here. And my advice has remained the same since freshman year of high school to people, is that you should always buy on the S cycle, or the soft refresh, because that's when Apple polishes the phone, and then the one before it kind of just gets phased out. So whether you bought the 12 or you're waiting for the 13, both phones are still top of the line iPhones that will last you quite some time. And can you really hate Apple for that? Technically, yes and no. So with all that being said, guys, these are the new features of the Pro models. Gold, in my opinion, still looks the best in the Pro lineup. So do what you will with the colors, but tell me what you guys think of the iPhone 13 Pro and Pro Max. I appreciate every sub, like, and comment. And as always, guys, much love.